The massive intergalactic transport ship Stellar Scholar slowly docked at Earth's orbital station. Its shiny hull gleamed in the sunlight, reflecting the blue and green planet below. Inside, a group of alien exchange students nervously waited to disembark. Zix, a tall, slender being with purple skin and 4 arms, looked out the viewing port. His large eyes blinked rapidly as he took in the sight of Earth. It looked so chaotic. He whispered to his friend Lumi. Lumi, a small round creature covered in soft, glowing fur, bobbed up and down anxiously. I heard the gravity is crushing, she said, her voice high and squeaky. And the temperature changes are extreme. Behind them, Kroll, a rock-like being with crystalline formations jutting from its head, grumbled. Why did we agree to come to this death world again? A mechanical voice echoed through the ship. Attention students, welcome to Earth. Please proceed to the exit in an orderly fashion. Remember your orientation packets and breathing apparatus if needed. The alien students shuffled towards the exit, some floating, others crawling or rolling. Each carried a bag of belongings from their homeworlds. As they entered the space station, they were greeted by a holographic sign that read, Welcome to Earth, home of the galaxy's premier intergalactic university. A human representative stood nearby, smiling broadly. He was tall and muscular by human standards, but to the aliens, he looked like a giant. Welcome, new students, he boomed, causing several aliens to flinch at the volume. I'm Tom, your orientation guide. We're thrilled to have you join us this semester. Zix raised one of his 4 hands. Excuse me, Mr. Tom, but is it true that Earth has predators? He whispered the last word as if it were forbidden. Tom laughed, a sound that startled the group. Oh, sure. But don't worry, you won't find any lions or bears on campus. Well, except for our mascot during sports events. The aliens exchanged confused looks, not understanding the concept of mascots or sports events. As they moved through the station towards the shuttle bay, the aliens couldn't help but notice the humans around them. They moved quickly, their steps energetic and purposeful. Some were jogging, others were gesturing wildly as they talked into communication devices. They're so active, Lumi observed, her fur glowing a bit brighter with excitement. How do they maintain such energy levels? Kroll's crystalline formations clinked as he shook his head. Probably because of the high oxygen content. I've heard it makes them hyperactive and prone to combustion. A young human woman overheard them and chuckled. High oxygen content. Nah, we just run on rocket fuel, she said with a wink before rushing off. The alien students looked at each other in shock. Rocket fuel. Surely she's joking. Zix said, his purple skin paling slightly. As they boarded the shuttle that would take them to the planet's surface, nervous chatter filled the air. They had all heard stories about Earth and its inhabitants, the so-called Deathworlders. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as a species that had not only survived, but thrived on a planet that would be lethal to most other sentient beings. The shuttle began its descent, and the aliens pressed against the windows, taking in their first close-up view of Earth. They saw sprawling cities, vast oceans, and green forests. But they also noticed the jagged mountains, active volcanoes, and swirling storm systems. It's beautiful, Lumi whispered, her fur now glowing a soft blue in awe. And terrifying, added Zix. As they broke through the cloud cover, the university came into view. It was a vast complex of buildings, some towering into the sky, others sprawling across the ground. Aliens and humans alike could be seen moving about the campus. The shuttle landed with a soft thud, and Tom stood up. All right, folks, welcome to your home for the next few years. Remember, Earth's gravity might take some getting used to, so take it slow at first. The doors opened, and Earth's atmosphere rushed in. It was heavy with scents the aliens had never experienced before. The gravity pulled at them, making some of them wobble unsteadily. As they stepped out onto Earth for the first time, the alien students were hit with a wave of sensations. The feel of wind on their skin, the sound of birds chirping, the warmth of the sun. It was overwhelming. "This is it," Zix said, taking a deep breath. "We're really here, on a death world." Looney's glow pulsed with excitement. "Just think of all we'll learn." Kroll, despite his earlier grumbling, couldn't hide the sparkle in his crystalline eyes. "If we survive, you mean?" As they followed Tom towards the orientation hall, they passed a group of human students. The humans were laughing and talking loudly, each clutching a strange container filled with a dark liquid. The aliens watched in fascination as the humans sipped this mysterious substance, seeming to grow even more energetic with each drink. Little did the new arrivals know, they were about to embark on the adventure of a lifetime, one that would challenge everything they thought they knew about the universe, and introduce them to the true secret behind human vitality. The alien students shuffled into the orientation hall, their eyes wide as they took in the sights and sounds of their new environment. The room was filled with a mix of humans and aliens from across the galaxy, creating a colorful and diverse crowd. Zix, Lumi, and Kroll found seats near the front, eager to learn more about their new home. As they settled in, they couldn't help but notice the humans around them. Despite the early hour, the Earthlings seemed full of energy, chatting and laughing loudly. "How are they so awake?" Zix whispered, his forearms gesturing in confusion. Before anyone could answer, a tall human woman stepped onto the stage. She had dark skin, curly hair, and a wide smile. "Good morning, everyone. I'm Professor Chen, Dean of Alien Student Affairs. Welcome to Earth." As Professor Chen began her welcome speech, Lumi noticed something strange. Many of the humans in the room were holding small, steaming containers. They would periodically lift these to their mouths, drink, and seem to become even more alert. "Hist, Kroll," Lumi whispered, her fur glowing a curious yellow. "What do you think is in those containers?" Kroll's crystalline eyes narrowed as he observed. "Maybe it's some kind of energy potion, or perhaps a stimulant gas they need to breathe." Their whispered conversation was interrupted by Professor Chen's voice. "Now, I know Earth might seem a bit intense for some of you, but don't worry. We've paired each of you with a human buddy to help you adjust." A collective murmur ran through the alien students. Some sounded excited, others nervous. "When I call your name, please come up to meet your buddy," Professor Chen continued. "Zix from Quatuor," she called out. Zix stood up, his long limbs shaking slightly as he made his way to the stage. A human girl with bright red hair and freckles stepped forward, grinning widely. "Hi, I'm Sarah," she said, holding out her hand. Zix stared at it for a moment before remembering the Earth custom of handshakes. He grasped her hand with one of his four, marveling at the warmth of her skin. "Nice to meet you, Sarah," Zix said, trying to match her enthusiasm. Next, Lumi was called up. Her human buddy was a tall, dark-skinned boy named Michael. He bent down to shake her paw, careful not to squish her small, round body. "Hey there, little glowbug," Michael said cheerfully. Lumi's fur pulsed with a mix of embarrassment and pleasure at the nickname. When Kroll's name was called, he rolled forward to meet his buddy, a muscular human with numerous colorful markings on his arms. "Yo, I'm Jake," the human said, giving Kroll a gentle fist bump. "Love your crystal mohawk, dude." Kroll blinked in confusion, but felt a warmth spreading through his rocky exterior. Maybe these humans weren't so bad after all. As the meet and greet continued, Sarah turned to Zix with a smile. "So, want to grab some coffee before the campus tour?" Zix tilted his head. "Coffee? Is that the liquid in those containers everyone is drinking?" Sarah laughed. "Oh man, you've never had coffee. You're in for a treat. It's like rocket fuel for humans. Keeps us going through classes, study sessions, you name it." Zix's eyes widened. "Rocket fuel. But isn't that dangerous?" "Nah, it's just a saying," Sarah assured him. "Come on, I'll show you." As they made their way to the coffee stand, Zix couldn't help but notice how Sarah seemed to bounce with each step. Was this the effect of this coffee? At the stand, Sarah ordered 2 cups of coffee. The rich, bitter smell made Zix's sensory tentacles quiver. She handed him a cup, warning him that it was hot. Cautiously, Zix took a sip. The flavor exploded on his tongue, bitter, yet somehow pleasant. And then, moments later, he felt it. A surge of energy coursed through his body, making his purple skin tingle. "Wow!" he exclaimed, his voice louder than he intended. "This is incredible." Sarah grinned. "Welcome to Earth, buddy. You're gonna fit right in." As they rejoined the group for the campus tour, Zix felt a new spring in his step. He looked around at his fellow alien students, noting their wide-eyed expressions as they too experienced their first taste of Earth culture. Lumi was floating a bit higher than usual, her fur glowing a bright, excited blue as she chatted animatedly with Michael. Even Kroll seemed more upbeat, his crystals catching the sunlight as he rolled alongside Jake. As they walked, or floated, or rolled, through the sprawling campus, the alien students began to see Earth in a new light. Yes, it was a death world, full of challenges and potential dangers, but it was also a place of wonders, of new experiences, and of friendly beings willing to share their rocket fuel. Little did they know, their adventure was just beginning. The true test of their adaptability and their caffeine tolerance was yet to come. As the first week of classes began, Zix, Lumi, and Kroll found themselves swept up in the whirlwind of Earth University life. They marveled at the energy of their human classmates, who seemed to be in constant motion, always rushing from one activity to another. One particularly stressful morning, Zix stumbled into the classroom, all 4 of his arms laden with books and data pads. He spotted Sarah, his human buddy, already seated and sipping from a large container of coffee. "Good morning, Sarah," Zix said, collapsing into the seat next to her. "How are you so? Awake? We were up late studying last night." Sarah grinned, raising her coffee cup. 2 words, my purple pal. Extra. Large. Before Zix could ask what she meant, the professor walked in and began the lecture. As the class progressed, Zix noticed something odd. The humans who had arrived with coffee seemed alert and engaged, while those without looked tired and sluggish. Halfway through the lecture, a human student named Tim stumbled in, looking half asleep. He mumbled an apology to the professor and slumped into an empty seat. Sarah leaned over and wordlessly passed Tim her coffee cup. He took a long swig, and within minutes his eyes brightened, and he sat up straighter, suddenly taking rapid notes. Zix blinked in amazement. It was as if the coffee had brought Tim back to life. Meanwhile, in another part of the campus, Lumi was floating through the library, her fur glowing a soft blue as she browsed the shelves. She noticed a group of human students huddled around a table, looking stressed and tired. They were surrounded by books and holographic displays, clearly in the middle of an intense study session. One of the humans stood up. "Coffee run. The usual for everyone." The others nodded gratefully, and the student left. When she returned, she was carrying a tray full of steaming cups. As soon as the aroma hit the air, Lumi saw the other students perk up. They grabbed the cups eagerly, and within minutes, the atmosphere at the table had completely changed. The humans were now animated, discussing their project with renewed energy and enthusiasm. Lumi's glow pulsed with curiosity. She floated closer to Michael, who was part of the study group. "Michael," she whispered, "why does everyone depend so much on this coffee?" Michael looked up, smiling at his alien buddy. "Oh, hey, Luma. Well, it's not just the caffeine boost. It's like a ritual, you know. It helps us focus, keeps us going when we're tired. Plus, it tastes great." Lumi bobbed thoughtfully. "But isn't it strange to rely on a substance like that?" Michael shrugged. "Maybe. But hey, we're Deathworlders, remember? We've adapted to use what we've got. Coffee's just one of our secrets." Across campus, Kroll was rolling alongside Jake towards the gym. He'd been hesitant about Earth's physical education requirements, but Jake had assured him it would be fine. As they entered the gym, Kroll was hit by a wave of sound and motion. Humans were lifting weights, running on treadmills, and engaging in various forms of exercise, all at an intensity that made Kroll's crystals vibrate with anxiety. "Jake," Kroll rumbled, "how do you all have the energy for this?" After classes, Jake laughed, patting Kroll's rocky shoulder. 2 words, "Crystal Dude." Pre-workout. He pulled out a shaker bottle filled with a bright blue liquid. "It's like coffee's buff cousin. Gives you an extra kick for the gym." Kroll watched in fascination as Jake downed the drink. Within minutes, Jake was attacking the weights with even more vigor than usual, his muscles bulging with effort. As the day went on, Zix, Lumi, and Kroll found themselves continually amazed by the humans' reliance on coffee and its variants. They saw students chugging energy drinks before exams, professors sipping lattes during office hours, and study groups centered around coffee pots. That evening, the 3 alien friends met up to share their observations. "It's not just a drink," Zix said, his eyes wide. "It's like a way of life for them." Lumi's fur glowed with excitement. "And did you notice? The more stressed or tired they are, the more they seem to consume." Kroll nodded, his crystals clinking softly. "It's as if this coffee is the secret to their survival on this death world. Their hidden advantage." They looked at each other, a mix of awe and curiosity in their expressions. They had come to Earth to learn, but this mystery of the dark elixir that fueled the Deathworlders was proving to be their most fascinating discovery yet. Little did they know, their own coffee journey was about to begin, leading them to understand the humans and themselves in ways they never expected. As the semester progressed, Zix, Lumi, and Kroll found themselves more and more intrigued by the humans' relationship with coffee. They had observed its effects from afar, but none of them had dared to try it themselves. That was about to change. One particularly challenging morning, Zix dragged himself into the classroom, all 4 arms hanging limply at his sides. He had stayed up all night studying for a difficult exam, a common practice among his human classmates, but without their secret weapon, he felt like he was moving through thick syrup. Sarah took one look at him and shook her head. "Zix, my friend, it's time. You need coffee." Zix's eyes widened. "But is it safe for my species?" Sarah grinned. "Only one way to find out. Come on, let's go to the campus cafe." At the cafe, Sarah ordered 2 large coffees. The barista, used to serving alien students, asked about Zix's species and recommended a milder brew. Sarah added extra sugar and cream to make it more palatable. Zix stared at the steaming cup, his sensory tentacles quivering at the rich aroma. With a deep breath, he took a sip. The effect was almost immediate. A warm sensation spread through his body, from his core to the tips of his 4 hands. His eyes widened, and he felt a surge of energy unlike anything he had experienced before. "Wow!" Zix exclaimed, his voice louder than intended. "This is incredible. I feel like I could take on a Thraxian beast." Sarah laughed. "Welcome to the coffee club, buddy. Use its power wisely." Meanwhile, in the library, Lumi was struggling to stay focused on her studies. Her usual glow had dimmed to a faint flicker, and she found herself drifting off to sleep. Michael noticed her predicament. "Hey, Lumi, want to try some coffee? It might help you stay awake." Lumi hesitated. "I'm not sure. My species absorbs nutrients through our skin. Would it even work?" Michael thought for a moment, then snapped his fingers. "I've got an idea. Be right back." He returned with a small spray bottle filled with cold brew coffee. "Maybe you could absorb it this way." Curious, Lumi agreed to try. Michael gently sprayed a small amount of coffee onto her glowing fur. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, Lumi's glow intensified, pulsing with bright, energetic colors. "Oh my!" Loom exclaimed, bobbing up and down excitedly. I feel so alert. And my thoughts, they're racing. Is this how you humans feel all the time? Michael chuckled, only after our third cup of the day. Across campus in the gym, Kroll was having his own caffeine epiphany. Jake had convinced him to try a small sip of his pre-workout drink. Just a tiny bit, Jake warned. This stuff is strong, even for humans. Kroll's crystalline structure didn't allow for traditional drinking, so Jake carefully poured a drop onto one of Kroll's flatter surfaces. The liquid seeped into the microscopic cracks in Kroll's rocky exterior. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then, abruptly, Kroll's crystals began to vibrate, emitting a soft, high-pitched hum. Whoa! Kroll rumbled, his voice deeper and more energetic than usual. I feel powerful, like I could crack a mountain. Jake grinned. That's the spirit. Now, let's hit those weights. As the day went on, the three alien friends experienced the ups and downs of their first caffeine highs. Zix found himself talking rapidly in class, his four hands gesticulating wildly as he answered questions. Lumi zipped through the library, her glow so bright that other students wore sunglasses. Kroll set a new personal record in rock lifting, his crystals humming with energy. But as the effects began to wear off, they also experienced their first caffeine crashes. Zix's arms felt heavier than ever. Lumi's glow dimmed to an exhausted flicker. Kroll's crystals drooped, making a sad tinkling sound. That evening, they met up to share their experiences. It was amazing. Zix said, still a bit jittery, I've never felt so human. Lumi bobbed in agreement, her fur pulsing with residual energy. I understand now why they call it rocket fuel. I felt like I could fly to the moon. Kroll nodded, his crystals chiming softly. It's powerful stuff. No wonder the humans can survive on this death world. With coffee, they're unstoppable. As they discussed their adventures, a realization dawned on them. Coffee wasn't just a drink. It was a key to understanding the human experience, a window into the daily life of a Deathworlder. You know, Zix said thoughtfully, maybe we've been looking at Earth all wrong. It's not that humans are crazy for living here. It's that they found amazing ways to adapt. Lumi's glow pulsed in agreement. They don't just survive here. They thrive. Kroll rumbled a laugh. And to think, it's all thanks to a little bean. Humans really are full of surprises. As they parted ways for the night, each of them felt a new sense of respect for their human classmates. They had taken their first step into the world of coffee, and in doing so, had begun to unlock the secrets of human resilience. Little did they know, their coffee journey was far from over. The true test of their newfound knowledge was yet to come. News of the alien students' coffee experiences spread quickly through the extraterrestrial community on campus. Zix, Lumi, and Kroll found themselves at the center of attention, bombarded with questions from curious classmates from across the galaxy. One sunny afternoon, they decided to hold an informal coffee information session in the university's alien student lounge. The room was packed, with beings of all shapes, sizes, and consistencies eager to learn about the mysterious human elixir. Zix stood at the front, all four of his arms gesturing excitedly as he spoke. Fellow non-Earthlings, we've made an incredible discovery. The humans have this amazing substance called coffee. It's not just a drink. It's the fuel that powers their civilization. A murmur of interest rippled through the crowd, a gelatinous being raised of pseudopod. But is it safe for non-humans? Lumi floated forward, her fur glowing a confident blue. It affects each species differently, she explained. For me, it made my bioluminescence go crazy, but in a good way. I've never felt so energetic. Kroll rolled to the front, his crystals tinkling softly. And for me, it made my crystalline structure vibrate with power. I could lift boulders I never thought possible. The alien students listened in awe. A multi-eyed, tentacled creature spoke up. But why do humans need this coffee? Are they not naturally adapted to their world? Zix nodded thoughtfully. That's the fascinating part. Humans are adapted to Earth, but coffee helps them push beyond their natural limits. It's like a power-up in those video games they play. As the session continued, more and more alien students became intrigued by the idea of trying coffee. Some were excited, others nervous, but all were curious about this seemingly magical human invention. A group of butterfly-like beings fluttered their wings anxiously. But how do we know it won't harm us? Sarah, who had been listening from the back of the room, stepped forward. That's a great question, she said with a smile. We've actually set up a special alien coffee bar in the student center. It's staffed by baristas trained in xenobiology who can create safe, personalized coffee drinks for each species. This news was met with excited chatter. The idea of a custom-made Earth drink was too tempting to resist for many. Over the next few days, the alien coffee bar became the most popular spot on campus. Alien students lined up to try their specially crafted coffee concoctions. The results were as varied as the beings themselves. A group of aquatic aliens found that a drop of espresso in their water tanks made their fins flutter with unprecedented speed. Some gaseous beings discovered that coffee-infused vapor gave their thoughts crystal clarity. Even the silicon-based life forms reported feeling more smoothly processed after their quartz-infused coffee shots. Not all experiments were successful, of course. The hibernating species found that coffee disrupted their sleep cycles, causing them to stay awake for days. A photosynthetic alien turned an alarming shade of brown after one sip. The baristas quickly learned to keep detailed records of each species' reactions. Zix, Lumi, and Kroll watched this coffee revolution with a mix of pride and amusement. They spent their free time at the alien coffee bar, helping newcomers and sharing their experiences. One day, as they sat enjoying their now customary afternoon coffee, Lumi's glow pulsed with a sudden realization. You know, she said, I think we're starting to understand humans better now. Zix nodded, his 4 hands wrapped around a steaming mug. Absolutely. It's not just about the caffeine. It's about their spirit of adventure, their willingness to try new things. Kroll's crystals chimed in agreement, and their ability to take something from their environment and turn it into a tool for survival. It's admirable. As they watched their fellow aliens excitedly trying their new drinks, the 3 friends felt a sense of accomplishment. They had bridged a gap between species, helping their classmates understand and appreciate human culture in a new way. But their coffee journey wasn't over yet. As more aliens embraced the caffeinated lifestyle, new challenges and hilarious situations were brewing on the horizon. The true test of their newfound coffee wisdom was yet to come, and it would shake the campus to its very foundations. Little did they know, their next adventure would involve an overzealous alien, an important exam, and more coffee than any non-human had ever consumed before. The stage was set for a caffeinated chaos that would go down in university history. The day of the big interspecies physics exam had arrived. The lecture hall buzzed with nervous energy as students from across the galaxy prepared for the challenging test. Among them was Blorp, a blob-like alien known for his intense study habits and determination to excel. Blorp had been one of the most enthusiastic converts to coffee culture. He had quickly become a regular at the alien coffee bar, fascinated by the boost in mental clarity the drink gave him. But today, Blorp had a plan. If 1 cup of coffee helped him focus, then surely more coffee would make him even smarter for the exam. As Zix, Lumi, and Kroll entered the hall, they noticed Blorp in the corner, surrounded by empty coffee cups. His gelatinous body was quivering, and his usually translucent form had taken on a disturbing brown tint. "Oh, Blorp, are you okay?" Zix asked, his 4 arms gesturing with concern. Blorp's voice came out rapid and bubbly. "Okay, I'm great, never better. Ready to ace this exam. Did you know the speed of light is 299,792,458 meters per second? Of course you did. Everyone knows that. Did you also know that if you traveled at the speed of light, time would stop for you? Fascinating, right? Speaking of time, did you know that the exam starts in exactly 7 minutes and 32 seconds? We should sit down. Or should we stand? Do chairs really exist, or are they just an illusion created by our perception of reality? Lumi's bioluminescence flickered anxiously. Blorp, how much coffee did you drink? Coffee? Oh, not much. Just a cup. Or 2. Or 10. Or was it 20? Who's counting? Numbers are just constructs anyway. Did you know that in some alien cultures, the concept of numbers doesn't even exist? Isn't that wild? Speaking of wild, did you know that coffee beans are actually the seeds of a fruit? Fruits. In space. Well, not in space on Earth. Earth is in space, though. Everything is in space. We're in space right now. Isn't that crazy? Kroll's crystals clinked worriedly. I think we have a problem. Just then, the professor walked in, ready to distribute the exam papers. Blorp's excitement reached new heights. He began to bounce, his blob-like body jiggling dangerously. The exam. It's time. I'm so ready. Did you know that in the time it took the professor to walk to the front of the room, light could have traveled around the Earth 7.5 times? Amazing. Oh, I feel strange. Is it hot in here? Why is everything spinning? Is this what humans call a coffee high? I think I'm experiencing relativistic effects. Is anyone else moving in slow motion? Before anyone could react, Blorp's over-caffeinated body lost all cohesion. With a sound like a wet balloon popping, he exploded into thousands of tiny coffee-scented droplets, splattering everyone and everything in the lecture hall. Chaos erupted. Alien students of various species shrieked, roared, or emitted distress pheromones. The human students, however, seemed more annoyed about their ruined exam papers than the fact that their classmate had just exploded. In the midst of the pandemonium, Sarah calmly stood up, coffee cup in hand. All right, everyone, calm down. This isn't the first coffee-related incident in university history, and it won't be the last. Let's get this cleaned up. To the aliens' amazement, the humans sprang into action with practiced efficiency. They produced towels from their bags, began mopping up the blorp droplets, and even started collecting them in a large container. Don't worry, one human student reassured the still quivering aliens. This happened to my roommate during finals week last year. Blorp will be fine once we rehydrate him and flush the caffeine from his system. As the cleanup continued, Zix, Lumi, and Kroll huddled together, watching in awe as their human classmates handled the situation with surprising calm and competence. You know, Zix said, his 4 arms helping to mop up coffee-scented goo, I think we just witnessed the true superpower of humans. Lumi's fur glowed with understanding. It's not just that they can handle extreme conditions. It's that they can adapt to literally anything. Kroll finished, his crystals chiming in agreement. Even their classmate exploding during an exam doesn't faze them. As order slowly returned to the lecture hall, and a very apologetic, and reassembled, Blort was led to the medical bay. The alien students gained a new appreciation for their human peers. They realized that life on a death world didn't just make humans physically tough. It made them mentally and emotionally resilient in ways they were only beginning to understand. The coffee incident, as it came to be known, would go down in university legend. But for Zix, Lumi, Kroll, and their fellow alien students, it was more than just a funny story. It was the day they truly began to grasp the incredible adaptability of humans, a trait more impressive than any amount of caffeine could explain. In the weeks following the infamous coffee incident, the atmosphere on campus had changed. The alien students looked at their human classmates with a new sense of respect and wonder. The humans, for their part, seemed amused by all the attention. One sunny afternoon, the university held a special assembly to address the recent events. The large auditorium was packed with students of all species, creating a colorful and diverse crowd. Zix, Lumi, and Kroll sat in the front row, eager to hear what the administration had to say. The dean, a tall human with gray hair and a kind smile, stepped up to the podium. "Welcome, everyone. In light of recent events, we felt it was important to have an open discussion about cultural exchange and mutual understanding." A murmur rippled through the crowd. The dean continued, "First, I'm happy to report that Blorp is fully recovered and is back to his studies. Let's give him a round of applause." The auditorium erupted in cheers and various alien sounds of approval. Blorp, now back to his normal translucent self, wobbled happily in his seat. "Now," the dean said, "I'd like to invite some students to share their thoughts on what we've all learned from this experience." To their surprise, Zix, Lumi, and Kroll were called up to the stage. They looked at each other nervously before stepping up to the microphone. Zix spoke first, his four hands gesticulating as he talked. "When we first came to Earth, we thought humans were crazy for living on such a dangerous planet. But now we understand that it's not about the danger. It's about how you face it." Lumi floated forward, her fur glowing a warm, friendly yellow. "We've learned that humans don't just survive here. They thrive. They take challenges and turn them into opportunities. Coffee isn't just a drink to them. It's a symbol of their adaptability and resilience." Kroll's crystals chimed softly as he added, "And most importantly, we've learned that humans have an incredible capacity for handling the unexpected. When Blorp, exploded, the humans didn't panic. They worked together and solved the problem. That's true strength." The audience listened intently, many nodding in agreement. Even the humans seemed touched by this perspective on their culture. Next, Sarah was invited to speak. She stepped up to the microphone with a grin. "You know, we humans have learned a lot too. Watching our alien friends discover coffee has reminded us of how amazing our planet really is. We've gotten to see Earth through new eyes." She paused, looking out at the diverse crowd. "But more than that, we've been reminded of the joy of cultural exchange. Every species here has something unique to offer, some new perspective that enriches us all. Even if sometimes that perspective comes with a caffeinated explosion." The auditorium erupted in laughter and cheers. The dean returned to the podium, smiling broadly. "Thank you all for your insights. In light of these events, we've decided to make some changes. The Alien Coffee Bar will now be expanded into a full interspecies culinary exchange center, where all students can safely explore foods and drinks from different worlds." This announcement was met with excited chatter from all corners of the room. The idea of trying cuisine from across the galaxy was thrilling to humans and aliens alike. As the assembly ended and students began to file out, Zix, Lumi, and Kroll found themselves surrounded by their classmates, both human and alien. Everyone was talking excitedly about the foods and drinks they wanted to share or try. "You know," Zix said to his friends, "I think we've started something amazing here." Lumi bobbed in agreement, her glow pulsing happily. "It's like the humans say, we've spilled the beans on cultural understanding." Kroll's crystals tinkled with laughter. "And to think, it all started with a simple cup of coffee." As they walked out into the sunlight, the three friends felt a deep sense of belonging. They had come to Earth as outsiders, afraid of its harsh conditions. Now they saw it as a place of endless possibilities, where even the most different species could find common ground. Sarah joined them, slinging her arms around Zix's shoulders. "So, who's up for a coffee? I know this great little place off campus." As the group headed off, laughing and chatting, they knew that their adventure was far from over. There were still so many human customs to explore, so many mysteries to unravel. But now, they faced it all with excitement rather than fear. After all, with good friends and a cup of coffee, even life on a death world could be an amazing adventure.